one important thing to note here is the difference between components and assets in Nexus. If you go into the snapshots repository from the user view, so these here are actually the components that we uploaded to Nexus. This is the group of a component. So it has this tree-like structure, and these top level folders here are the components. And if we expand those components, you see a bunch of different files, a subfolder with a version and so on. And these are the assets, right? The individual files that you see here, the XML files, as well as jar file right here and the POM files. All of these are assets that all belong to a single component. And we also saw when we queried the endpoint of Nexus API, we saw that we got a list of components, and each component then had its own object with a list of assets that belong to the component. So you can think of a component as more of an abstract, high-level definition of what we are uploading. So this is an application that we built, and we're uploading that application as a component. And you can think of the assets as actual physical packages or files that we're uploading. And this division is important because, as you see, one component may have more than one assets. However, there could be cases where one component only has one asset. Now, an interesting thing is how Docker repository handles assets and components. The Docker format gives assets unique identifiers and calls them Docker layers. And these layers are individual assets, and these assets can be reused for different components. So if you have two Docker images that use the same layer, then you would have two components for each image, and they will share that one layer as an asset. As an example, a Docker layer, for example, could be a specific operating system which is referenced by multiple Docker images. For example, if you have multiple application images, different applications that all are based on Node or Java, for example, then this layer will be an asset, and all different application images will actually share this specific asset. So this is how Docker repository type actually handles assets and components. And in Nexus, the term component is actually used to refer to any type of or format of package that you upload to a repository. So whether it's an artifact or package or an archive, etc., depending on which tool you use, which build tool you use, in Nexus, they're all referred to as component in order to have some generic definition of all of this, whether it's Docker image or a zip file or a Java archive or whatever it is. In Nexus, it is referred to as component to have some kind of generic definition of all these things.